What's going on, guys? It's Justin at Humble Auto Spa, and today is a pretty cool video. So this is a CPO Toyota Camry, right? I think this is a 2024, maybe even a 25, but this vehicle came to us looking for paint protection film, but more specifically, he wants us to restore the paint prior to us laying film. Now here's what's really cool about paint protection film. Yes, it is thick enough to take damage, like rock chips, scratches, and swirl marks, but one thing people don't really think about that much is the clarity of paint protection film. So PPF is so thick that you can put it over weathered paint like this as long as it's been properly decontaminated, and it'll look almost like brand new paint. Let me show you what that means. So I'm gonna install paint protection film, this little sample on a square. I've already prepped it. I've done the clay bar. We did the chemical decontamination as well, so there's nothing on this paint. The paint itself is kind of weathered though, so it's covered in scratches, swirl marks, and you know, it's a used car, right? So our client wants to restore this finish, and I told him, I said, you know, if you're doing paint protection film, you don't really need to do that thorough of a paint correction. You can actually get away with laying PPF over weathered paint, and I'm going to show you today what that means. So I've got here this little small letterhead sample sized PPF. I'm going to lay it over this right smack dab in the middle, and keep in mind this area is already pretty beat up, so I'm going to just lay this sample here. I'm going to show you how good this film looks. It's pretty awesome. So I'm going to just squeegee it nice and clean, make sure that there's no water or anything. All right, so that's on there. Now I'm gonna go ahead and squeegee the rest of this water, clean it up, and I will show you how amazing PPF's thickness can be. All right, so check this out, guys. Where I've laid the PPF, you don't see any swirl marks or scratches, any of this kind of water. This is just because it's fresh PPF, but once it cures crystal clear. But you can see the surrounding area where the film is, you can see those heavy swirl marks and scratches really weathering this paint, right? So if I let this thing cure, this little square right here will be crystal clear. The rest of it will have these swirl marks and scratches. So PPF is indeed thick enough to hide this type of wear and tear. It's pretty incredible. So paint protection film is actually thicker than the paint and clear coat that's on your vehicle. So your average clear coat, so this is just the panel here, is measuring 3.93 mil, which is pretty thin, but to be expected with a Japanese vehicle. This is where I've just laid the PPF though. 11.87. So this stuff is very, very thick, more than double as thick as the PPF. It's 8 mil thick standard, right? So 8 mil thick, that just effectively means that this film is thick enough to take damage, rock chips, scratches, swirl marks, but aesthetically very clear, very vibrant. And once this thing cures, it'll look like flawless paint. Okay, so we're gonna be peeling off this PPF. You can see it is indeed crystal clear. And then we're gonna be doing full front end paint protection film on this Camry after a 2-stage paint correction over the rest of the vehicle. And in doing so, this car is gonna look fantastic and restored. For reference, this is actually our demo board. So this little square right here has PPF. You can see once the film cures, it does cure crystal clear, but if you go up a little bit, you see these heavy swirl marks and scratches in this little quadrant here, this area. This film is directly over that. I mean, it's incredible, right? So you've seen it live, but here it is, once cured out, it is crystal clear and it looks absolutely incredible.